This is important. This really is an important bill, and we are here all night long to protect our kids. We are here for the children that don't have a voice, and we are here for Minnesota, for the citizens that do not approve of this going through. Madam Speaker, could I ask the author, Representative Finke, to yield to a question?
She will yield. Representative Altendorf.
Representative Finke, when you first introduced the bill, you had said this is not controversial. That's what you had said in your opening statements. You said gender-affirming care is not controversial, and I'm just wondering if you could maybe expand on that, and why is this not controversial?
Representative Finke.
Thank you, Speaker Hortman, and for the question. I think that's I'm really grateful for that question. In my opening remarks, I said that gender-affirming care is not controversial in medical spaces because gender-affirming care is medical treatment for a medical diagnosis that is called gender dysphoria. It includes providing medication that all medications which cisgender children use at very young ages for various different diagnoses. There are reasons that cisgender children use puberty blockers. There are reasons that cisgender children use estrogen and estradiol and testosterone. All of these are medically necessary for multiple diagnoses, including gender dysphoria, and every major medical organization in the United States understands that gender dysphoria treatment via these medically necessary prescriptions is good. It is an uncontroversial thing to say in medical spaces.
Members, due respect to our colleagues requires that we not speak while they have the floor. Representative Altendorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Finke. I heard you say right now that this is not controversial in medical facilities. And Madam Speaker, if you could ask Representative Finke to yield to another question.
She will yield. Representative Altendorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So my next question, Representative Finke, is are you aware that in Sweden in May of 2021 that they have ended puberty blockers in that country? And then also in England in July of 2022, the National Health Service is closing England's sole youth gender clinic in England. I'm wondering if you're aware of those medical facilities in different countries that have embraced transgender care and now, after having it for many years, are turning away from these practices.
Representative Finke.
Thank you, Speaker Hortman. Yes, in my opening remarks, I did specify in the United States, but yes, I am aware of those changes, and I am aware of the reasons that those changes have been made.
Representative Altendorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask Representative Finke to yield to one more question then?
She will yield. Representative Altendorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Finke, I heard you just say that you are aware that they closed and that you know the reasons. Could you please elaborate on the reasons why they did close?
Representative Finke.
Yes, they closed the access for politics.
Representative Altendorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Okay, the answer was it was for politics. I didn't hear it. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Okay, thank you. I do think it seems that there was other issues going on besides politics, and that's something that we need to look into, because if other countries have tried this, they've been doing it longer than we've done it here in the United States, longer in Minnesota, and they're obviously having problems to the point that they needed to close. That is certainly something that the state of Minnesota, and I believe our taxpayers, would want to make sure that we as state legislatures are examining that and making the best decisions for our state. Just to speak a little bit about the age and about the children, because this truly is about children. This is about protecting children. And I know I hear many people say, you know, we respect trans kids, gay, straight kids. We all do. We want the best for each other. There's just no doubt about that. But when we are talking about medical practices, whether they are chemical, that permanently change our body, or they're surgical, that permanently change our body, we absolutely, as adults and lawmakers, need to make sure we're protecting our children. I just want to give a simple example. It's been discussed here tonight several times. To drive a car, to have a driver's license, you have to be 16 years old. You have to be 16 years old. So at some point, adults examined that age that they needed to be 16 and why. I would argue that if you were a 12-year-old, you physically would not be able to drive that car. Your legs would not be long enough. Your arms would not be long enough. You might not be able to touch the pedals. Physically, you are not ready to drive that car. I also would argue that emotionally, you are not ready to drive that car. You might not have the thought process needed to process through what you have to do when you're driving a car. So mentally, emotionally, physically, a 12-year-old, we are all going to agree in this body, I believe, we would not allow a 12-year-old to drive a car because there's actual physical, emotional, and mental reasons that adults set limits for the protection of the child to not drive a car because it would be dangerous to them to do so. In the same capacity, in the same thought, we as lawmakers, we as legislators, we as parents, as adults, as reasoning human beings that have common sense, need to look at these same children and realize that they do not have the physical, the emotional, the mental capacity to make life-altering decisions that will change these children forever for the rest of their lives. We as lawmakers have to stand up for the children of Minnesota. And in this case, in this bill, we have to stand up for children all over the United States that would possibly be brought here because this is what this bill does. This bill is about bringing children from other states to Minnesota, and we are asking our state to protect them, to protect the adult that brought them here. This is unconstitutional. It is literally unthinkable of the situations that our state could be putting ourselves in this legal trap. We have to stop kidding ourselves that this is about children, that this is about protecting children, that we have to give them this transgender care. Just like we would not let them drive a car until they're 16, we should not be allowing a child to go through the transitioning process until their brain is fully developed, which is 25. This is not saying we will not let them transition. This is saying you will do it when you are an adult, when your brain has developed that you can make this decision on your own. To all the transgender kids, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. To all of the transgender kids that went through transitioning, to all of them that regret it years later, 6 to 8 years later, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. And today, I ask this body to vote no against a bill. We stayed up tonight to talk to you tonight because there are going to be children that are going to come back to the state of Minnesota and sue us. And they are going to watch this video. They are going to watch this video. Vote no. Allow children to be children. And the medical procedures can happen when they're an adult, but not under our watch. Vote no.